Today, as we enter into the new year, let's talk about us entering into the new world. Now, our contention has been that we're leaving the old world. We're still there, transitioning into the transition period. We have no idea where we're going to end up 10 to 15 years from now. But another data point that we're exiting the old world is today, the Washington Post said, which Trump denied, that they were considering a entirely new kind of tariff. Basically, every country was going to be tariffed, but they were going to just tariff products or whatever industries on they felt were important to America. Okay. Again, I don't think it matters, what they want to do or how to do it. What matters is that we're going to break the system into a new system. Okay? We're breaking the system that we set up, we designed, we own, we control. It's our system. And we're saying we no longer want to play in this sandbox anymore. Here's our new sandbox. And we're going to see the reaction of countries around the world. I don't know what they're going to be. Now, we have said that we're following basically 4 or 5 things that give us a clue to what's going on and where there could be breakage. So, the assumption is we're changing. There's nothing that's going to change that. Second, that Trump is an accelerator, nothing more. We were going to go through this no matter who is in power. Just look at Biden's 4 years. He never took back anything Trump did. He just made him tougher, okay? So, we're doing this. The question is, how are we doing this? And if we break the system, the big system, will there be individual things that happen that break, that we don't want to break, which cause us issues? And these are the things that we're going to try to monitor. So we've already stated what we're looking at. We're looking at energy, we're looking at food, and we're looking at what someone suggested, I think, was global connectivity. So this is all our shipping lanes, the internet, and the telecommunications, which are under attack everywhere. If you haven't seen it, last night, China broke a cable into Taiwan. So now you have the Baltics, you got the Red Sea, now you have this. It's happening, okay? Now, we said that we're going to watch 4 things to give us a clue for our markets, because we're invested in our markets. By the way, 74% of every dollar invested last year, we're invested in our markets. Everyone's invested in our markets. So we want to know what's going to happen to our markets. So as you know, we follow the 10-year bond, which is up to 462. So basically since 340, we've been saying the bond's going to move up as the narrative keeps changing. First, we said it was going to go over 4, then we said it was going to go to 440, over 440, and then finally, after the last rate cut, I said we're going to go over 5%, okay? We're not over 5%, but let's see what happens. In fact is, if you follow the news, you know that people are now talking about rate hikes for 2025, not rate cuts. So is there one cut for this year in September, someone's now saying? I have no idea. I'm saying that I believe the inflationary pressures are going to be higher. And look at Germany today. Their inflation rate came in at 2.8 or 2.9. It was supposed to come in at 2.4. It was at 0.5% higher than anticipated. And you had the EU saying they're going to aggressively cut their rates. How is that going to, that does not match up. How is that going to happen? So I still say over 5%. Let's see what happens. Now we got to renminbi. So at 710, we said we felt it was going to go to 770, and then in our last update, we think now it can go to 810, all right? Now the Chinese are doing a lot of stuff. Every day you're reading about it. But to me, you have to look at it like there's 2 problems that they have. One is they have a consumption problem, which they're obviously addressing. They're throwing money at everything. But the other side of the problem is what people say are the $19 trillion in bad debt that they have. They have 4 of the 5 largest banks in the world. These banks own all this bad debt. And China, for whatever reason, Xi says we are not going to bail them out at this time. That's why you're seeing articles that they're turning into Japan, right? Because that's what Japan did. Are they going to do that? I don't know. So their issue too is productivity. So when you're building ghost cities, which I think that's like 23 or 24 ghost cities, right? I read that they have 1.5 billion unsold apartments. And then they build all those high-speed trains. I wish we had them. They're absolutely fabulous, but they're building them to nowhere. And so what is the long-term effect on China that they have to solve? Well, it's productivity. So anybody who follows us knows that the U.S. productivity is going right through the roof, far outperforming the Europeans and the Japanese, and maybe look into the Chinese. And so you can see here, before 2008, their productivity was growing 3% a year. In the next decade, so 2007 to 2018, it was basically 1%. So since 2018, it's 0%. So they're not increasing their productivity. Why is that? Well, guess what? When you're building things that no one uses just to have people employed, your productivity doesn't go up. It actually zero, and maybe it's going to go negative. We don't know. So I look that the renminbi is going down. So whether it's 770, 810, that's where it's going. Now here's the Japanese yen. It's been hanging here, 157, 158. The Japanese talk this every day. You gotta give them credit. They're gonna cut, they're gonna raise, we're gonna watch this, we're gonna watch that. But basically, they're caught. They have slow growth, incredibly bad demographics, and they're now facing tariffs on their major export industries. It doesn't look good. I still say we're gonna see 170 on the Japanese yen, and I think it's going to be rather soon. Now here's the euro. This was just 102 the other day. It has rallied up a little bit. Everyone's talking about it breaking par. I think that's nothing. What are they going to do? They have slow growth. They have terrible demographics. They're not united in any way. They're now facing issues with the military, the NATO. They're facing issues with how can they get competitive in the technology space. And then, of course, they have just horrific energy complex problems, right? Their energy is far more expensive than, let's say, the Americans. They have a big, big problem with that, all right? So I hate to go out and go crazy, but I do think that 70 was the low of the euro. I would not be surprised to see us challenge that. We're definitely going to go down. We're definitely going to break par. Question is how far down do they go? I think it's going to be far. So look at the new administration. A lot of things are going to come out. They've already said they're going to do major executive decision orders in the first day. Okay, listen. Look at the base economies. We have our economies that are competing with America are over in debt. They're underinvested, and and the dollar is all the investment is going to the United States. And so they have issues that are economic issues, and this is what drives currencies, okay? This is what drives money flows. Number one rule of investing, money goes where it's best treated, period, end of story. And it's right now, it is perceived in the world to be best treated in America. Yes, the dollar index is down today, and everyone's all happy because they say that the tariffs are going to be narrow in scope. We don't know that. You can't bet on that. What you bet on is what are the underlying economics of each country or each region right now. And I would say that all of it points to a higher dollar and lower currencies. What do you think? Like and follow.